How are you guys doing? It is Wednesday, and Motorcycle Man is still getting out there. So anyway, I don't know why he's not staying inside. I'm staying inside. Pretty much everyone I know is staying inside. You're staying inside, hopefully. But anyway, I give up. I give up. There's no hope. There's no hope. I thought I would start a little fun thing called VoolenWINE Wednesdays. I don't know, it has a ring to it. So yeah, and I'm not drinking wine just yet. It is still about noontime here in Bushwick, Brooklyn, where I hail from, and I'm drinking out of one of my favorite wine glasses. Dennis got me this for my birthday, I think a year ago. It just says sociopath, as in S-E-W, sociopath. Yeah, because clearly I'm crazy about sewing. But anyway, I put out an ask on Instagram to send me questions. I was gonna do an AMA rapid fire episode, but I thought it'd be fun to kind of break those questions down and do separate episodes. Since I am hoping to publish some more videos for this YouTube channel, I hope you guys are excited for that. I'm certainly excited for that. I'm having a lot of fun putting these together. But I thought it'd be fun to take one of those questions, a question that I get asked quite often, and I do answer from time to time on the regular podcast, but I feel like it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. So I thought I would make a separate video just dedicated to this topic. And that question is, what are my favorite sewing patterns for beginners? A very good question. So I took some time today, I wrote a list, and hopefully you guys will find these helpful. So just a disclaimer, some of these patterns I have made, some of them I haven't, but going by what some of my friends have said about making these patterns or just looking at the basic construction, these patterns seem like they're very doable for the newbie sewist or beginner sewist. So I hope you find some inspiration in this episode. I've broken down the patterns into accessories, tops, skirts, dresses, so I hope you guys can glean something from this. And I did avoid pants because I feel like pants are there are a lot more components to sewing pants than there are, say, a skirt or a project bag or a blouse. So I basically stuck to a couple of simple lines. I hope, you guys are inspired to make some of these. Okay, so the first pattern is a lined drawstring bag tutorial by In Color Order. This is such a great pattern to begin with because all it really is sewing straight vertical and horizontal lines, and you don't have to worry about a zipper. It's all drawstring, and I recommend this all the time to my newbie sewist friends because it's super easy and they make great gifts. You really can't go wrong with it. Next up is a pattern that I haven't made before, but just looking at it, it's incredibly simple. It's the Simple Lined Zipper Pouch by Purl SoHo. And if you are a beginner, Purl SoHo has a lot of free, awesome, simple beginner sewing patterns out there. So definitely check out their website. I only mentioned the zipper pouch because it's a step up from the drawstring pouch, I want to say. It does involve a zipper, as the name suggests, but at the same time, it's just sewing a rectangle, lining it, and little simple things that make you feel pretty chuffed with yourself when you're all done with it. So definitely check that out as well. Okay, moving along to tops and blouses. I have two patterns here that are, I feel like, beginner staples, and the first one being the Scout Tee by Grainline Studio. Now this pattern I haven't made personally, but I always hear people who are experienced sewists recommending it as a beginner pattern because it's a useful garment. It's just a simple boxy top, and you can use some fun fabrics from your stash or something that you find inspiring, and it can just be a really fun beginner project, I feel like. So definitely check that one out as well. Next up is the Agnes tee by Tilly and the Buttons, and this is such a beginner staple. And I always recommend this pattern to my beginner sewing friends because I feel like it's a great place to start if you're new to sewing with jersey fabrics or knits. There are several variations because you start out with a simple scoop neck and cap sleeves, very simple to construct, and then you can take your sewing skills to the next level because there are different variations within this pattern. So once you accomplish the basic t-shirt, you can add some puffed sleeves with ruching, and you can do a lot with it. It's very versatile, and I always recommend it. Moving on to skirts. The Rae Skirt by Sewaholic Patterns is awesome. It's just a simple A-line skirt with an elastic waistband. While I'm not Me personally, I'm not a fan of elastic waistbands. It's just a great technique to have in your tool belt because you never know when you'll have to install an elastic something in somewhere. So definitely check out the Rae Skirt. I've made it once before and it's great. It's a great way to use up some fun fabric, novelty fabric in your stash, and just get those basic sewing skills down. Next up is one of my favorites. It's definitely one of the first patterns that I dipped my toes into, and that's also by Sewaholic Patterns, and that is the Hollyburn skirt. And I think I made about 2 or 3 of these skirts, and they are just so fun to make. I love the pockets because you can never go wrong with pockets, my friends. They're pretty much non-negotiable in all of my garments now. Anything that I make, any dress, if I can fit a pocket in there, it's gonna get a pocket. But I love the construction of the Hollyburn skirt because when it all comes together, it's just like, oh. Yeah, you will feel very, very accomplished as a sewist when you make this skirt. And I know Katie from the Inside Number 23 podcast has a sew along for this pattern, so I will link to that as well below, along with all the other patterns that I mentioned in this episode. Moving on to dresses. All right, guys, I will say probably one of the first patterns that I've ever made was the Anna dress by By Hand London, and I still love this pattern. It is so well written. Not only is it a good beginner pattern, I have made this pattern, I want to say 6 times over, and each time I make this pattern I just get better and better and better at like little techniques, and my skills just keep growing every time I make this pattern. So it's definitely one of my go-tos. You know, if I don't know what to sew, or I just have some special fabric in my stash that I want to make use of, I always go for the Anna dress because it's so pretty and versatile, and I feel like it flatters pretty much just any figure, and I always recommend it, again, to my newbie sewist friends. Next up is another great, simple jersey pattern. Well, I did mention the Agnes top. If you want a dress, or if the skater dress is a more flattering fit for you, I always recommend the Lady Skater dress by Kischy-coo Patterns. So simple, quick to whip up. I think I've made maybe like 4 of these, and they always come together in about 4 hours. So really quick project, and again, you can pretty much use any jersey fabric from stash. It only takes about, depending on your size, I want to say 2 to 3 yards and of fabric, and yeah, again, a very versatile pattern, very beginner friendly. Definitely check that one out. All right, next up is another pattern that I have not made myself, but I have seen a lot of other beginner sewists start out with this pattern, and I think it's a great place to start if you love wearing sheath dresses. That is the Coco dress by Tilly and the Buttons, and yeah, again, if you have some ponte in your stash, or some, you know, pretty much any knit fabric. If you're new to working with those fabrics, this is a great pattern, especially if you are trying out serging for the first time. The lines are very simple, very basic, and it's a great place to start if you are dipping your toes into serging or just working with knit fabrics. Here's a pattern that I have made, but I wasn't too crazy about the fabric that I used, and that is the Maya dress by Marilla Walker. I want to make so many of her other patterns. I love her aesthetic. I love her instructions, and she has a great Instagram feed if you haven't checked her out. But the Maya dress is very simple. Again, it's a sheath dress, but it has a couple of variations. I like that it has a belt, so if you know, like me, I don't really gravitate towards just sheath dresses, and I like the belt option to kind of cinch in the waist a little bit. And then, you know, she has an option for a pocket, and, you know, just a very casual, everyday, practical garment to add to your wardrobe. So definitely check out the Maya dress, and there is a top version as well. So again, another opportunity for you to use some fun special fabric from your stash. And I believe those are all the patterns that I have to share with you this week. I hope you guys found that inspiring and feel encouraged to try your hand at sewing. I know, I completely know the feeling of really wanting to sew, learning to sew, but not knowing where to start and not wanting to take on something too intimidating. Rest assured, I feel like the patterns that I've mentioned here are very, very beginner friendly. And for those of you who already sew, let us know in the comments below, what were your favorite beginner patterns? Because the more beginner friendly patterns we have at our disposal, the merrier. So yeah, I'm really curious, let me know. So as always, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this little vlog, video, whatever you want to call it. If you did, please feel free to like and subscribe below. I put out a full video, full episode for your viewing pleasure every Friday, where I chat about what I'm knitting, what I'm sewing, what I'm making. But I am endeavoring to put out some more videos for your enjoyment throughout the week. So until then, I will see you next time. Bye!